Our attitude toward the world outside us is largely hostile. We are always conquering nature, space, mountains, deserts, bacteria, and insects, instead of learning to cooperate with them in a harmonious order. Culture taught you to see the world as enemy territory to be dominated. Every obstacle becomes something to defeat. Every difficulty something to crush before it crushes you. The tractor that flattens the hill and the rocket that pierces the sky are the same attitude, just at different scales. The conviction that everything outside your skin is raw material to be subdued. That hostility ignores something simple. What lies beyond your skin is, in truth, an extension of your own body. You breathe that air, eat that soil turned into fruit, drink that water that comes from the same cycle, bathing the mountains you want to flatten. Conquering the environment you completely depend on ends up, sooner or later, destroying the very ground that feeds you. Nothing fails like the success of that conquest. The more you win the war against the world, the less world is left to hold you up. No one asked if you wanted that war. You inherited it, layer upon layer, in every "you have to beat life" you heard as a child, long before you could question it. There are architects who know how to fit a house into a hillside without ruining the landscape. There are astronomers who understand that the Earth already travels alone through space, with no need for anyone to conquer it. The option to cooperate was always there, right beside the option to subdue. Only one of the two leaves, something standing after it wins, the illusion of fighting your own opposite pole. Living at war comes from trying to accept only the good, positive, or winning side of existence, rejecting pain, rest, and loss as if they were system errors instead of the necessary other half of the same board. Trying to eliminate one of the two poles is an impossible, exhausting battle because each side holds up the other exactly as the valley holds up the mountain. You can't keep the peaks and get rid of the valleys. Every attempt ends in the same chronic frustration. Wearing yourself out, fighting half of a reality that never stopped belonging to you, as if you could sign a peace treaty with half your own shadow and force the other half to vanish. Every time you call a day good, only because it had no pain in it, you're playing that same rigged game. The day that does bring pain is not a failure on your part. It's simply the other color on the same board, waiting its turn like it always has. The unnecessary fight against enemies. Man alone is trying to eliminate his natural enemies in the conviction that he is or should be the supreme species. We must learn to include ourselves in the wheel of cooperation and conflict, because a permanently victorious species destroys not only itself, but every other form of life as well. Every other living system contains its own struggles without anyone ever winning for good. Birds against worms, snails against lettuce, spiders against flies. None of those species ever achieves a permanent victory over the other. You're the only one who insists that your own enemies, illness, old age, whatever gets in your way, have to disappear completely before you can be at peace. There's an old story about a hostess in New York who asked a foreign statesman what was being done about birth control in his country. He answered that all that propaganda was, at bottom, an attempt to keep a certain superiority over everyone else. She was baffled. What she should have answered in jest was simple. No, actually, we just want to help you prune your beautiful fruit trees. Your own enemies are, in that sense, your pruners. They keep you from destroying yourself through excess, the same way a pest keeps an overgrown crop in check. The point was never to eliminate them completely. It was to learn to include yourself in the same wheel of cooperation and conflict that holds up everything else. A species that managed to win that war once and for all would not inherit paradise. It would inherit an empty world with nothing left to measure itself against, and that total victory would be exactly the same as the extinction it feared. Life as play and dance, not work or combat. To be freed from "you must survive" is to see that life at bottom is playing. The universe in general, and this particular show, have, in a special sense, no meaning at all. They don't point to anything beyond themselves, the same way a Mozart sonata carries no moral message. Life is not a military mission or a race with a finish line. It's far closer to music or dance. The point of a song isn't to reach the end as fast as possible. It's the movement itself while it plays. A Japanese Zen master put it this way: "In singing and dancing lies the voice of the law. No one leaves a concert asking who won, and yet you treat every day of your life as if there were a final scoreboard to check before you're allowed to rest." The whole spectacle, the sound, the color, the rhythm of your own breathing, is so fascinating that you forgot it was a game, and you mistook each day's applause and booing for real love and hate, for final victory and defeat. The universe, seen up close, is a magic illusion and a fabulous game, and there is no separate you standing there to take something out of it, as if life were a bank you came to rob. Listen to a voice singing without words sometime. It can make you cry, force you to dance, fill you with rage, or send you leaping with joy, and you will never be able to say exactly where the music ends and your own emotions begin. The peace of recognizing unity within conflict. However involved you may be in the conflicts and competitive games of practical life, you will never again be able to surrender completely to the illusion that the opponent is entirely wrong. This gives you the invaluable ability to contain conflicts before they spiral out of control. When you understand that you and your supposed adversary, the circumstances, the others, the challenges, are part of the same system, the need to destroy disappears. Combat turns into a conscious game, with rules both sides respect, instead of a war where only one side can be left standing. Love your competitors and pray for the ones who undercut your prices. You wouldn't be anywhere without them. None of this is going to turn you into a saint overnight, and it doesn't need to. As long as you keep breathing, you'll eat at the expense of other lives. You'll feel anger, you'll feel fear. The morality that comes with this understanding isn't to stop playing. It's to honestly recognize how much you depend on everything you called an enemy. That same view is exactly what remains available to you in the face of death. Not an enemy to be annihilated, but the other necessary pole of the game you're already playing, the silence without which no note would have anywhere to resonate.